Sonic Movie 4 might be a little under 2 years away, but some very significant updates have come to the film that we need to talk about. Hey, what's up everyone, it's SpeedSuperSonic bringing you guys a new video, and in this video today, we are talking, yes, about Sonic Movie 4 because something very interesting was announced recently at CinemaCon. Speaking of CinemaCon, yes, Paramount held their panel, and Sonic 4 was mentioned, but no significant news or anything was brought up. That's kind of what I predicted in our previous video where we talked about Sonic's presence at CinemaCon. I was really just expecting a mention, no significant updates or anything like that in relation to it. Maybe another project, but we didn't get anything like that. It's fine, it's what I expected. But no, what we're actually talking about is something that was announced at CinemaCon that was not a part of Paramount's panel, it's a part of Sony Pictures' panel, and that is their upcoming Zelda movie that is due out the same year that Sonic the Hedgehog is releasing, and they announced the release date for the movie, and it will be releasing the week after Sonic Movie 4. That is significant for various reasons, one of them being the fact that Zelda will not be the only film releasing on that date. In fact, there's another movie releasing on the same day that Zelda's releasing, and that is the new Godzilla King Kong movie. To be more specific, Sonic 4 is releasing on March 19th, and then Zelda would be releasing alongside King Kong and Godzilla on March 26th. So what do I think about this? What does this mean for Sonic Movie 4? Well, I do think that this could put the film in a little bit of trouble, along with all of these other movies, because that is the kick. I think all three of these movies releasing so close to each other in that time span would do a lot of damage to these films. More than anything, I think Godzilla releasing alongside Zelda would cause more damage to those films than anything, kind of cannibalizing each other's box office, as you saw with Sonic Movie 3 and Mufasa. I think both of those films could have made significantly more money at the box office if they didn't release on the same day as each other. Sonic Movie 3 has concluded its box office run, making over $491 million, I believe, at the worldwide box office, which is great, but I think that movie could have made well over $500 million if it wasn't for Mufasa, which I think went on to make over $700 million at the box office, which is obviously more than Sonic. Well, Sonic had the bigger opening than Mufasa. Mufasa proved to have larger legs internationally and at the US box office than Sonic, and I think if Mufasa wasn't there to steal Sonic's legs, if you will, the film could have done better, and I think that Paramount going forward is going to want to avoid as much competition as possible, hence why Sonic Movie 1 did so particularly well for a first installment, and Sonic Movie 2 did very decent as well, making significantly more than the first. There was no competition on release day, and all the stuff around it wasn't necessarily hotly anticipated, like Morbius or the Fantastic Beasts Harry Potter spinoff that nobody was really looking forward to. Well, there's not a lot before Sonic Movie 4, which I think is very good for it. It'll be kind of one of those first movies that will get big audiences into the theaters again, which I think is really nice, because with Sonic Movie 3, there was already Wicked, and there was Moana 2, and there was Gladiator 2, and all these different films that people were, you know, getting excited for and going to the theater already to see. Sonic kind of being able to kick off the blockbuster season will be nice. But the issue comes when you have two other very big blockbusters releasing exactly a week after it. One in particular being a movie that I know a lot of people are going to be very excited for, regardless of how good it's going to be, and that is Zelda. There has never been a Zelda movie. I think everybody has been waiting for it. It's always kind of seemed like the obvious choice for Nintendo to adapt into a film. Zelda has a massive fan base. The games are incredibly popular. The characters are incredibly popular. It's going to be big. And what is it also? A video game. What is Sonic? A video game. So you're potentially going to have two movies that are based off of video games competing against each other. That's where you kind of have a conundrum. Sonic, yes, releases the week before, and I'm sure it will do great, but Sonic will be releasing the fourth installment in his movie franchise. That requires a lot more homework, basically, a lot more history and commitment with the franchise, and Zelda is kind of a fresh start. I'm saying kind of, it is a fresh start, where it's the first movie in a supposed franchise based off of a video game franchise that has such a long history and storied history and fan base and all of this. That is big. And also, let's not forget that King Kong and Godzilla do decent at the box office. The last one, I believe, was the highest grossing in the franchise, and that was close to $600 million, being around the 570 something range. So that franchise is going in an upward trajectory, which is good for it. I don't think it will do as well with it having competition with Zelda and Sonic for a week before. But let's focus on Sonic in particular. How does Zelda and Godzilla impact Sonic? Well, having two brand new blockbusters released the week after your debut is a big deal. While yes, you're almost assuredly going to secure a week one victory, you're going to win the box office, have the #1 film, the week after you're assuredly going to be wiped off. That's not saying that it's going to make no money. I'm sure that it's going to have some legs after week one for sure. But Zelda and King Kong are going to give the audience two other movie options that take away from Sonic 4 performing well at the box office. We saw what that did to Sonic 3 with Mufasa releasing on the same day. So imagine if Mufasa released a week after. It would have surely taken so much more away from Sonic, and I don't want to see that happen again. So what do I think? Some of these movies are going to move for sure. Whether it be Sonic moving for once, which would be interesting because the Sonic movie hasn't really budged from a release date since the first movie, or the more likely option, Zelda and or King Kong moving as well. I think King Kong might stick to its date. The one I could see, despite it just being announced, is Zelda. There's no way that these two movies want to release on the same day as each other. I think they're going to attract similar markets. Also, Zelda will be competing against another video game movie from a week before, which has a very similar market. All these movies definitely want to have time to themselves, so I think you're going to see some release dates move. We'll just have to wait to see who. I know I said that Sonic and or Mufasa was going to move from their release date. That obviously did not happen, but I sure as hell see one of these three films moving, because I think this spells not doom necessarily, but underperformance for all three. I think if all of these movies stick to their dates, yes, Sonic Movie 4 will not bomb, but I don't think it's going to perform to the level that Paramount is going to want for the franchise. With the three movies we've had so far, the trajectory is going upward. That's very good. But there's been a lot of talk, including myself, about how Sonic 3 could potentially be the peak that this movie franchise makes at the box office, and how we don't want that to be the case. So giving it as little competition as possible will be nice for it. 2027 is a busy year, and I think that they're going to want to try to find a time that is good for it. I think it's really unfortunate that Zelda has moved here. I have no clue why they decided to place their date on this date alongside Godzilla and a week after Sonic 4. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. But all of this to say, I think that this isn't great for Sonic 4, and I think that either Sonic 4 itself is going to have to move, or hope and pray that either Zelda or King Kong is going to move off of its date as well. This is strictly speaking about release date and timing and all of that. In regards to the movies themselves, we'll have to see what happens there. We see how sometimes fan reception and online discussion can impact a film like Snow White, and how that has kind of underperformed as a result of a lot of the backlash from the online audience, regardless of how justified it is or not. So let's say we get our first look at Zelda and it's terrible, which there could be a shot of. Zelda is directed by Wes Ball, who yes did that okay Planet of the Apes movie, but also the Maze Runner films, and not really an extensive filmography beyond that. It's also written by the guy who did the Jurassic World movie, Star Wars Episode 9, and Batman v Superman. Not to mention it's produced by Avi Arad, who, if you guys are Spider-Man fans, you know that this guy is awful. So not a lot of things going in Zelda's favor behind the creative side necessarily. So yeah, I have confidence in Sonic 4 being the better film, and the Godzilla King Kong movies have never really been my speed. So there's still more factors that can play into it, but regardless, I do want to see these movies get shifted around, because I think this spells trouble for all three of them. I recommend for all of you guys to remain calm, remain patient. This isn't doomsday, this isn't the end of the Sonic movie franchise, but I do think that this is something to look at, and I think it's a very interesting discussion with Sonic and Zelda being so close together. We'll see how this plays out, but I wanted to talk about this because I thought this was an interesting discussion. But this is where I pass off to you and ask, what do you think? What do you think about Sonic 4 going head to head essentially with Zelda and King Kong a week after its release date? Do you think that this is a bad move? Do you think that some of these dates are going to move around? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. Feel free to follow my social media links to my Twitter and Instagram in the description below. You can follow those behind the scenes of my life, future content, and all things Sonic the Hedgehog. But most importantly, if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. This is the #1 destination on YouTube for all things Sonic, whether it's video games, TV shows, movies, comics, merchandise, and more. We talk about it all. Sorry if I sounded a little off in this video. I'm a little under the weather right now, but I'm still hammering away at a bunch of new videos. Still so much content coming to you guys, and is in the works. I love all you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
And be right by the motherfucking seaside, dog. Everything I see, I got a dream. I thought these leaves would go and take me out the dark. I know everything I wanted to find away.